All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it's me, it's Dave. I'm back. That's kind of the short version of this entire video. I'm back. I was away. I'm back now. And hopefully by the time you watch this, I should have gotten some more stuff recorded and we'll be getting, hopefully, back on the usual schedule on this channel. Some Morrowind, some Witcher, something else perhaps as well. I don't know. That's the short version. I've been away and I'm back. The longer version will take some explaining, I'm afraid. And this isn't going to be a very pleasant video. Honestly, it's not going to contain pleasant things, and if you're not interested in hearing that, I understand, and you've already had the short version anyway, so that's fine. But in order to explain why I'm gone, we have to talk about why I was gone and the reasons. Well, obviously, what am I talking about? I've not done this in a while. My brain is all over the place. Get it together. I should have written notes or something. Anyway. Basically, I was gone for a while, and I sometimes disappear on this channel for a while. In the past, I've done that, and usually it's because I for a long time have suffered with depression. This is not something I talk about on the channel very much because I don't like to talk about my private life or anything like that much on the channel at all. I want everything on here to be about the games and not really about me. But today I'm kind of breaking that personal rule a bit. I've suffered for a good few years now with depression. Now, mistakenly or otherwise, I was always under the impression that it was perhaps a mild case. I'd never really gotten it. I'd never talked to anyone, a professional, about it before. I always kind of felt that while I had my down periods, I was kind of generally managing. And I also didn't know much about depression anyway. Ignorance was my enemy for a long time on this subject, I'm afraid. And that's why I'd sometimes disappear from the channel, because sometimes life would just become a bit too much and I couldn't bring myself to actually sit down and make videos and do other things that normally I would find fun. I just couldn't do it. Sometimes if I really forced myself to sit down and do it, I would eventually enjoy it. But the motivation to actually do it, even to get out of bed in the morning sometimes, was just too much. And it's gone on like that for a few years now, for various reasons that I'm not going to get into, but hey. And then this year happened. 2020 happened. The pandemic happened, and we went into lockdown. And we've gone into lockdown again now here in the UK, actually, this month. And it all became an awful lot worse. Whereas before I could just about cope, suddenly I found that I really couldn't, because all of my usual sort of release valves were kind of gone. Frequently I go to visit friends. I sometimes go to conventions and things, and that was kind of my way of getting out of the house and doing something that made me feel normal again, periodically every other month or something like that. And I couldn't do any of that this year because obviously it was all cancelled because of the pandemic. So I started to lose it a bit. I really started to lose it a bit. I won't go into the gory details, but I really started to spiral down a bit of a rabbit hole mentally, and it became a serious problem. And that's what led to me a while ago basically just deciding I need to take a break. I need to stop because I just can't do this at the moment. My brain is not in a good place. And so that's why I took a break from making videos and streaming for a while. Now, this is where the slightly mad tale begins, you see, because that's not all. What happened then is I took a couple of weeks off, and during those couple of weeks, two interesting things happened. Three interesting things happened, actually. The first one, was that my computer stopped working. It just wouldn't, you couldn't start it up without it turning off after about 5 minutes. And I discovered eventually that's because the water cooling, the liquid cooling cooler for my CPU stopped working. The pump on it gave out. And this took about a week to figure out, and then a few extra days to order a replacement and get it put in there, which thankfully did fix the problem. So the PC is not kill. It is alive again, which is wonderful news, because I can't afford to replace it in the minute. Although I am saving up for an eventual replacement for my PC. That's going to take a long time. So that happened. That was a stressful thing to have to go through, because I spent about a week trying to diagnose what exactly the problem was, because I couldn't tell what it was. Was it the GPU? Was it the PSU? Was it the cooler? What was it? I didn't know. I couldn't figure it out for a while because I'm not a very techie person. So it was a long process of very frustrating trial and error and lots of Googling things. But sorted that out. And then right after I sorted that out, I got food poisoning. I decided to celebrate fixing my PC finally by ordering a pizza, and the pizza gave me food poisoning. So the universe was really giving me the middle finger this week, you see. I got food poisoning, and I was just completely out of it for a couple of days, feeling like I was dying. I could barely even get out of bed. It was, oh God, I spent my pretty much two or 3 days with my entire time devoted between lying in bed and shitting myself to death on the toilet. It was not very dignified, and I shudder even remembering it, frankly. And then by the time that was over, I recovered for a couple more days, and by that point, my kind of designated rest period I'd given myself was pretty much over, and I felt that I was obligated to get back to work, essentially, and that's why relatively recently I did those 2 live stream series, 3 actually, because I did the Immortal King of Scotland Crusader Kings live stream series, and then I did the 2 Kaiserreich campaigns as well. And that was me getting back into it. And then I finished that last Japan campaign, and around about the time I was finishing that last Japan campaign, I was hit with another health problem, which was just jolly lovely. So basically, then what happened is I started getting chest pains. Which is never a nice thing, because obviously chest pain can be caused by all sorts of things, but the very worst things it can be caused by are things like an impending heart attack and stuff like that. So, I had to go get that seen to. Now, the good news was it wasn't a heart attack, but the bad news was it was very difficult to figure out exactly what the problem was. And after a couple of weeks of repeated doctor's visits and blood tests and things like that, we basically narrowed it down to a really nasty case of acid reflux, which is a really mundane thing at the end of the day. It's just stomach acid coming back up your esophagus and causing you some pain there. And I had to go get some pills and stuff to sort that out, which I'm currently taking. But when I was making an appointment with the doctors to get this seen to, I got up in the morning to phone them up, and as per usual, the phones are all completely engaged, just totally jammed with people trying to get an appointment for the day, as is always the case at my local GP. And I noticed that they had this online application system that you could use instead on their website. So I was like, all right, fine, I'll do that instead of sitting around here on an engaged phone line for an hour. So I went through that. And when you do that, they basically ask you to fill out a huge, like, multiple-page questionnaire on any problems with your health you might have whatsoever, even if it's not related to the problem you're actually having right now. So you go through the whole thing, and you report on everything from your mental health to your physical health. You write down, you enter in all your symptoms, tick all the boxes, and so on, and that gets sent off, and then they call you back, and you get an appointment with the doctor. Now, in the process of filling out this questionnaire, this is when I ended up filling out a bunch of stuff related to my mental health, like how I was feeling, and whether or not I had suicidal thoughts, and other problems I might have had, like constant fidgeting, for example, or slurring my speech occasionally, and things like that, and memory problems, and whether or not I'd been through any traumatic events recently, and things like that. And I filled all this stuff out. And I went to see the doctor about my chest pain problem, and the doctor basically confronted me with, okay, right, well, we'll sort this out, but also it looks like you're suffering from a pretty bad case of depression here, because you tick all of the boxes for that. You've got some serious you've got a serious case here, I'm afraid, because I was indeed having lots of problems, constantly fidgeting all the time. And this is something for years I had just thought, well, that's normal. People fidget, whatever. That's just a personality quirk of mine. I can't keep my feet still all the time. I'm always fidgeting about, moving and stuff. Sometimes I forget what I walked into a room to go and do. I have short-term memory issues. Whatever. That's just me. That's just what I'm like. It's just a quirk of being me. That's totally normal, right? Occasionally I slur my speech. I've never been very good at speaking out loud. My diction's always been a bit crap, right? That's normal, surely. And it turns out that no, actually, it wasn't normal. As was not being able to get out of bed in the morning. That wasn't normal either. And occasionally having sort of little mental breakdowns, which caused me to stop working for like weeks at a time. That's also not very normal either. And I had a long discussion with it about it with the doctor, and basically came to the conclusion that I have a bad case of depression and it needs to be sorted. And so it is being sorted. I have a therapist to talk to now, and I have antidepressants that I take, which I have to say, after now about 3 or 4-ish weeks, they are finally starting to kick in, because when you start taking those things, they don't actually start working for quite a while. And now I'm going through all of this, and the chest pain problem's being sorted out as well. I've taken some prescription drugs for that, and that's all sorted out, squared away now. But my mental health is now suddenly starting to rebound. And I got to tell you, it is quite a thing. It is like my brain has been in a foggy swamp for the last 3, maybe even 4 years. And now I'm finally starting to emerge from it, and I can finally see the horizon again. And it is pretty crazy. I'd forgotten what feeling vaguely content and happy actually felt like. And yeah, my advice to you folks, if you're listening to this video and you suffer from some of the things I talked about here, do some research on depression, because it's a serious problem. People sort of treat it, and I did for a long time as well, as if you're just feeling a bit sad. You know, you feel sad very often. You know, whatever, you can deal with that. You can cope with that. You know, through various ways. You know, you play video games, you watch television, you meet friends, you drink alcohol, you maybe even take drugs to deal with it, and it's just feeling sad. That's all it is. But no, the depression actually, it has physical effects on you. It does literal damage to your brain, and if you don't sort it out, some of that damage can cause you real problems later in life. Like, it can make you more likely to suffer from dementia, for example. It's a serious thing, and it should be taken a lot more seriously than it actually is, to be quite frank. So the reason I'm discussing this in so much detail, honestly, is basically just in case there's someone watching this and they think they might be suffering from the problem as well. Go and talk to a doctor about it, because you'll thank yourself later for it, trust me. Seriously. So, yeah. That's where I've been lately. That's the whole little saga. And I'm sort of, by the time you've watched this, as I said, I should be back and recording videos and doing the thing. I'll put this up alongside probably some new videos of The Witcher and Morrowind and stuff, and I'll hopefully be back to live streaming as well. But that's where I've been. That's why I've been gone, and I don't like to make excuses, but that's my excuse. In a nutshell, this video explains it all. So I'll be back doing my thing fairly soon, and hopefully doing it and having a lot more fun than I used to. Which is great news, honestly. I'm looking forward to it. I've been sitting around getting a little bit restless, actually, wanting to get back to it now. So I look forward to that. I look forward to doing this again and actually feeling positive and enthusiastic about it, which I haven't for a while. Yeah, it's good stuff. As I said, Morrowind will be continuing shortly. The Witcher will continue as well shortly. Since about February, I haven't really done much. Well, not since February, actually, it's a bit later than that, but for like a good 6 months now, I feel like I haven't really touched any 40k stuff, because some people have been asking me, like, are you going to continue doing 40k videos? And for a long time, I was completely out of it, because I wasn't able to play 40k with anyone for a long time, and still kind of can't really. And that, combined with the depression and what have you, was kind of completely sapped any enthusiasm I had for the hobby. But now I'm starting to get back into it again. I've started. I ordered a few old classic metal Sisters of Battle off of eBay, because those are probably some of my favourite models to paint ever. Those old Jez Goodwin sculpts. So I'm going to be working on that, along with a few other bits. I'm working on a few Eldar bits at the minute, actually, as well, just because that kind of strikes the mood right now. I'm completely out of the loop as far as the current state of the game is concerned, by the way. Like 9th edition stuff, no idea. I've only played like 2 small games of 9th edition so far, and I've forgotten all the rules already, but whatever. That probably won't be a problem for a while yet. Maybe I'll have to play some games against myself and try and learn it properly. I've been watching a lot of videos by Say Hi Paul on his new channel that he started recently, and he's been doing battle reports, solo ones with himself playing against himself, and they've actually been quite entertaining to watch, and they've started making me wonder if maybe it's a good idea to do that, because they allow me to put some battle reports out there, and also it would help me probably learn 9th edition a bit better and relearn how some of my damn armies work. Use some of them a bit more often, because there's some I've still never used on the channel, like my Dark Eldar, for example. You've never seen those guys on the channel before. And I've had them for a while now. So, yeah, maybe I'll start doing that. But anyway, what else is there to say? I'll be doing lots of live streaming. And I will continue posting live stream VODs onto this main channel here. They seem to have gotten relatively good feedback, the ones that I did post, the Crusader Kings and the Kaiserreich ones. So I'm going to continue doing that. And I am going to be doing... I'll say this now. I'm probably going to be doing more live streaming than I am going to be doing video making, just because I enjoy live streaming more these days. Honestly. I will continue doing Morrowind and The Witcher. I think anything like Morrowind will probably always be on YouTube rather than streamed, but I will continue streaming a bunch of other stuff, particularly newer games. I'm probably going to be streaming. I'm planning at the minute. I have a little list of games I want to do. I'm planning at the minute to do some Assassin's Creed Valhalla fairly soon, because that just came out, and while I didn't get very into Assassin's Creed Odyssey, I did enjoy Assassin's Creed Origins a lot when I picked it up on sale recently, and so I have grabbed Valhalla, and I'd like to play through that, because that's an interesting period in history that I'm vaguely familiar with and I quite enjoy, so I'm looking forward to playing that. I'll be streaming that on my Twitch channel. I also got Control, which I've been wanting to play for a while. I actually got the demo for the cloud version of it on my Switch, and I played like the first 10 minutes of the game, and I decided I didn't really fancy the cloud version on the Switch, because it's essentially you're not playing the game on the console, you're streaming it via the internet, and essentially I didn't like it because you're playing the game with the visual quality as if you're watching a live stream with a low bitrate. It wasn't very good, but I did like what I did see of the game and played of the game in the first opening 10 minutes. I was instantly super intrigued. So I have picked up Control for the PC, the Ultimate Edition on Steam, and I want to stream that too, because that just looks really, really, really interesting and cool. So I grabbed that, and I want to stream that as well. I am going to stream some more Hearts of Iron. It's either going to be a Kaiserreich campaign, or I'm going to play, for the first time ever, some of the Old World Blues Fallout mod. There is in case you didn't know, there's a mod for Hearts of Iron 4 called Old World Blues, not to be confused with the New Vegas DLC, which is a total conversion for Hearts of Iron 4 that sets it in in America in the Fallout universe. And it's really awesome by the looks of things. I haven't played it yet. I'll be going into it quite blind indeed. But it looks really, really, really cool. So I might do that. I might do Kaiserreich. I might do that. There's also the New Order I'd like to stream at some point as well. Basically, I'm really digging Hearts of Iron still, so I'll continue to do that, I'm sure. What else? I'm sure there was something else, wasn't there? There was a couple of others, yeah, I think. Like, I still have... I got the original Metal Gear Solid off of GOG, because they released it on GOG fairly recently, and I've been tempted to stream that as well, like as a bit of a retro stream. Make my way through the original Metal Gear Solid blind, by the way, because I've never played a Metal Gear Solid game before. Heard plenty about them, obviously, but never actually played them. And also, I don't know if any of you remember when I streamed Green Hell for a bit. Earlier this year, I think it was. Yeah, the survival game set in the Amazon rainforest. I'd like to play a bit more of that at some point as well. I think that would be kind of fun. I really enjoyed my time with that game, and I for some reason, I feel a bit of a compulsion to go back and play some more of it. So yeah, there's probably other stuff that I want to have a look at too. There's a whole ton of stuff I want to stream. I still want to stream Death Stranding at some point as well. There's loads. There's bloody loads. There's Medieval Dynasty that came out as well and looks really interesting. The medieval crafting sort of survival, but sort of also like a town building game thing. That looks really cool. There's loads of cool stuff out at the minute, and I want to stream all of it, and there's not enough days in the week, frankly. But we'll get around to all of it eventually, I'm sure. So, yeah. So there you go. So in summary, we're back to live streaming. There's a ton of stuff I want to live stream. I'll be back to doing Morrowind and Witcher on YouTube, and I'll be back to doing, at the very least, I'll be back to doing hobby vlogs for 40k. I am dabbling with the idea of maybe doing some solo bat reps as well, with it just me doing some narrative play 40k. Might dabble with the Crusade system if I can be bothered to learn it all. That might actually spice it up a bit and make solo 40k interesting if I was playing it in Crusade mode. But we'll see. So yeah, I don't think there's anything else to say. I need a drink actually. My throat's getting a bit dry. Luckily, I've got one I prepared earlier. So yeah, I don't think there's anything else to mention. If there is anything else, I'll post it in the comments and pin it. How about that? So yeah, I'm back. By the time you see this, I will be back, and hopefully I will have recorded some new videos for you to watch right away. And I'll be streaming. No schedule for the streaming yet, by the way, or for video uploads. As ever, I'm a bit scheduleless. I can't organise my own sock drawer, let alone a Twitch or YouTube channel. It's amazing I've made it this far, frankly, but I'd like to set one up though. If I can figure out what my best days and times are for doing streams and things like that, because it's always a bit in flux. But as ever, notifications will be posted on my Twitter. It'll be in the Discord if you're a patron. On my Patreon, you have access to the Discord. And over this period while I've been away, I have tried my absolute best to be as active as I can on the Discord and keep people updated on what's going on there. So my patrons probably know a lot of everything that's been in this video already. Because I've been talking to them constantly over this period. So I haven't forgotten about those folks. But if you're our patron, you get access to the Discord, where I post notifications for streams and stuff as well on there. And I will, when I remember to, post notifications for streams on the community tab on my YouTube channel here on this site. So, yeah, when I go live with stuff. And of course, if you do miss it, the VOD will be available to watch on Twitch, and shortly afterwards it will be exported over here to YouTube and added to a playlist. Just like I have done with the Kaiserreich campaigns. So, yeah. There we go. Ladies and gents, that is, I think, everything. Thank you very much for listening to my ramble. Hope to see you again very soon. Ooh, excuse me. My lunch is fighting back a bit. That's the old... that's the old acid reflux at it again, I'm afraid. But yes, I hope to be back doing my thing very soon. I hope I'll see you all there, and I apologise for being away, but I'm afraid it could not be helped. But I'm back now, and I'm in a better place now. And best wishes to all of you out there. And as I said, if you're going through some tough times as well, not only do I understand, I hope you can get some help, because I did, and I'm glad I did. Finally, it took me bloody long enough to ask for help. 3-4 bloody years. But I really should have done it sooner, frankly. But I'm glad I have now. So there you go. Mental health is important, folks. I know people always say mental health is important. They're like, oh, yes, we should talk a lot more about mental health. It's very important. And then nobody practices what they preach. Like, we'll happily say, oh, yes, no, mental health, very important. And then proceed to shut up completely about our own mental health problems. I'm guilty of that in the past, I have to say. But, yeah, no, if you've got problems, folks, seek out some help. You'll thank yourself for it later. And as I explained, it's not something you can just ignore. It can do damage to you in the long term if you just ignore it and think that you're fine, because you're probably not. and you definitely won't be in the long term either. So there you are, folks. Bit of a sober video, this one. Not a particularly happy or entertaining one, I'm afraid, but it had to be made, and I'm glad I have now. Finally got that off my chest. So, yeah. See you again soon with some much more fun and entertaining things. Until then, folks, toodaloo.